It's Saturday, December 3rd. I'm in this. I'm looking for signs of reality. Yesterday I shared, or Thursday I shared a Zoom call, one of very few I've ever been on, um, with a local father from the Episcopalian Church in New York. And in the presentation of Gospels and the upcoming Christmas holiday season, for which I've never been brought into a conversation such as they've just invited me into. But they also mention not only it's the Guns of August. Now at this point, I don't have the mental fortitude to read the language the way that I should, in order to complete a book. It's part of the health paradigm shift I'm undergoing here at the moment. But I had enough of a synopsis just in what does the synopsis mean to me. And then this morning on See the BS Saturday morning, actually yesterday as well, they had this unveiling of NG and the B21. And I'm like, oh, so I get to learn that they wrote a book on the jacket that says Guns of August, and then they're coming out with the U.S. Air Force display of affection that they've labeled B21. All 10 of the children, G under. That was my branch of entry into this part of the whatever it was before I arrived. I don't have words for it. So as far as constructing reality, so I'm watching that. Then I'm watching as Obama in Democratic Crazy Donkey Party is up at a podium with what looks like the NFL put up, looks like a black Caesar at Caesar's Palace or whatever, in the Manning children, the triplets. They had that going on, and it looks like Warnock. Now, I don't know what party they're associated with. I could only imagine. However, I hear Obama, and he's making fun of buy one, get one free. Now, he wouldn't be talking about the 76 problem and the 75, because it seems like rubbing salt in a wound for a matrix that was predisposed to rigging the incorrect way for whatever it was that they were trying to build. And somewhere in the semblance, there's safety. But there's a whole lot of partying going on at fraudulent levels. And one of us was born with a key. So I'm watching that on the big board. He also is making fun of Herschel Walker, for which I did not say that there was necessarily innocence. However, he's partying around a big elephant, a big red elephant in his whatever's behind him and whatever he says. And Obama is making fun of Herschel Walker, saying about key buzzwords that I caught on to shoestring budget. He says Herschel Walker is still arguing over over werewolves versus vampires. He said, I'm pretty sure he could, Obama says, and I'm quoting that he was pretty sure he completed that argument when he was 7. I'm like, no, is that a shoe 7? Is it a size shoe 7? Inquiring minds just want to know. So I'm listening to that, and I'm like, I'm watching this outrageous Palmdale. I didn't even know that's the name of it in California. Did not know Northrop Grumman's in California. I know at one point it was on this island, and then they closed down. I have no idea why. I don't know if that's part of the problem, but it's just these pieces of quantum entanglement and of discovery that I've gone through. Then I went back to review Strings of Intelligence, the local Thanksgiving Day parade, and I saw also they put up this morning. They had something on this morning on the CBS, the original version that I taped on the DVR, about camels and Botox. And there was something about an ATM when you put in the ATM card, like the people who just use that ATM, there's a leaderboard and then it displays everybody's balance, which of course is like just a coping mechanism. I'm like thinking to myself, I'm chasing that 2 ways. I'm like, wow, that's really hilarious because like I'm really not loving humanity at the moment, or people that have access to bank accounts with money in them. I was like, but on the other hand, I'm thinking, wow, how dangerous that is if I'm looking over the children and I'm supposed to care about them. And somebody like thief behind them could just come up and now knows just how much to ask to rob them completely blind. I'm like, so again, like, but I mean, this false sense of cybersecurity, I'm really reveling in the right. Okay, so whatever on that, no comment. So I'm watching the Thanksgiving Day parade, and I'm like, that's a version, I suppose, of how much do you have in your bank account at somebody's level. I mean, like outrageous levels in like they don't even have bank accounts either. Like they just got a card, and it seems like never have an end on limits. Um, so I'm just like interesting in. There was a Ronald McDonald. Um, And Tiafrio has this like Costa Rica connection, which really, I mean, again, insult to my intelligence. In it's not a Yellowstone representative. It's not. Like, if Kevin Costner was like my theater dad, he would never have ever let Tiafrio 1975 touch me, move in with me. He wouldn't have even let him through the threshold of the front door or even interview in my face, ever. Just saying. Because that would be like a dad that cared. Would have never have let Tiafrio anywhere near me, but here we are. I'm not sure which one of the problematic Gentiles are like scheduling problems to arrive for whatever reason. So I'm watching this, and I'm watching all these bits and pieces. So they have Ronald McDonald, and they were driving in a shoe. It was a red shoe, and I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? At like acknowledgement in whatever, and then it went to a red and orange, and it has NASA on it. Snoopy dog, that's a new one. And I heard that Artemis actually put a sticky on that on their rocket ship at like important people that got to like important places in the world, while I'm trapped in this set of rooms, and I have this really key signature at like they would understand if I could have a conversation. It's just I'm really not sure at the theory of everything, theory of a dead man, why there's this problem with getting my part correct, or at least the parts that I need in quantum entanglement. So I'm watching all of this unfold on the stage around me here in New York, but also on Shoestring Budget of what they're putting together and how they're acknowledging, because it's now like so many years in, and it was like they were all this driving force to screw my life up while holding me in this position and taking markets and matrix and whatever that has a driving fundamental and has practicality somewhere, and taking it and building it into something that's unsustainable, because here we are.
Nuclear stealth bomber in more than 30 years after years of secret developments. The B21 Raider was described as being the backbone of the Air Force. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said even the most sophisticated air defense systems will struggle to detect the B-21. The Air Force plans to buy at least 100 of the planes to replace its aging B-1 and B-2 aircraft. It looks kind of like
Just saying, at Guns of August, I know where the 10 that then I arrived as the number 3 off of a number 3, a G under, came from. I know there was somebody who has a photo of me on something that now I can call a cell phone, but back then there was no such things. There is a family out there that I belong to, and I was supposed to be just quietly absorbed into and then learn the ways of the whatever I belong to. Not quite sure why they're having such trouble with me on this island and with getting to that level where I'm comfortable. So now on CBS mornings, E240, Friday 12/2, year 2022. This is what Obama was saying. Which it's like I can hear it through a filter of 76 should have never happened, and 75 definitely should have never happened. But there's no rules here. It doesn't look like, because it did happen. But I still want my hummingbird, respectful flower, and we'll figure out the logistics of what to call all of the problems that I incurred and which way to go between Guns of August and something that looks like a B21 that they're now announcing on Shoestring Budget. Since my quantum entanglement is so nil, I really don't owe anybody anything here. But I do have a serious need. And there are those that are profiteering off of calcaneus calculus. And it seems to be a real issue on my part.
Hoping to maximize turnout ahead of this closely contested runoff, Senator Raphael Warnock turned to a reliable source.
You get a buy one, get one free deal on elections this year.
Former President Barack Obama made his case for the incumbent to add to the Democrats' majority.
Is that the other party's way of saying that they know they're guilty? I'm just curious. By putting up one of the executives for the larger corporation that has some government contract that uses some real basis and footing, right, like calcaneus heel footing, that ties into something that looks like calculus that nobody knows how to read because it's special symbols and stuff nobody even talks about, like that kind.
51 is better than 50 because it means Reverend Warnock will keep representing you in Washington.
And he took another jab at Warnock's opponent, Herschel Walker.
Mr. Walker has been talking about issues that are of great importance to the people of Georgia. Like whether it's better to be a vampire or a werewolf. This is a debate that I must confess I once had myself. When I was 7.
You can tell that they're getting nervous because they got Obama here again.
The GOP nominee held a competing rally with South Carolina Senator.
This is as much as of their flea circus or political circus that I ever get to see. I don't get to see them speak live. I don't know where they or what audience they pander to. I don't know who sets their speech up. Like, is it T-ball and they put the ball on the tee before they let them come up to bat? It would make sense. What are they running it off of? With me being in this situation and having been born a certain way, having been glenned a certain way, and then problems arising with no hummingbird like staying and flowering into fruition properly. Yeah, there's some big, serious problems at the circus. Now, here's what T-Ball put up, or Shoestring put up on the Thanksgiving Day parade with this Ronald McDonald, which is a clown, which is in yellow and red with white makeup on its face. And then there's a car full, a red shoe that they turned into an automobile that they're driving down Fifth Avenue. So I'm just saying, it's, again, I don't want to get all gaudy on the situation between who's fighting and why, when there is specifically 4 go spells and they're all around the same agreement, kind of sort of in a, what do you want from us? Right, you got that. I want a hummingbird. I want to be his respectful flower. And I want everybody to go along with it. And I don't know why it's being withheld from my person.
Our shoulder and down the street. How cool is that? It's Ronald McDonald, one of the world's most famous clowns. And Ronald and his big red shoe car coming down the way. The big red shoe car is equal to a men's size, get this, 266.
I think that's the perfect fit for you, Kevin. This is a 20-foot long creation. It is absolutely massive. And this year, Ronald has brought some pals along to celebrate the holidays. 2 of my favorites, the Hamburglar and Grimace. The Hamburglar, oh my God, my McDonald's used to have a big hamburger you could go in, right? Oh my God, it was so fun.
How many people do you think McDonald's feeds a day?
1 Kelty night.
No, 68 million people around the globe are eating McDonald's every day.
Because it's delicious. That French fry is like no other. So
I just have to turn around and just get the look of Ronald.
Oh my goodness gracious,
look at that.
Kevin.
Look
oh
at
my
Ronald.
Goodness gracious.
And you see all the handlers. They're a great day for the handlers.
I guess would you call that hamburglers?
No, don't try. You tried to throw a name out there.
The handlers are the hamburglar handlers?
No. But
hey Ronald, we'll just leave it with Ronald McDonald. Keep it simple.
Yeah, by the way, did you know in this,
like, again, I don't want to upset anybody in Hamburg, perhaps. I mean, they call them hamburglers or hamburglers. Again, I don't really know who was involved with the whole sending in a 76 when I clearly was not even on it. I mean, like 1% escalator ride and you send in 76 and then continue it and stretch it to 75. There is very serious ways of chasing that formula of what caused that and how to fix it, like immediately, like before it happens, that they're never wrong. So I'm a little confused how it's gone this awry.
In the 70s, the McDonald's used to sell pizza. I didn't know that.
I had no idea. Do you see that Ronald McDonald right beside our head has a cargo pocket on his pants?
Oh, he does.
So fashionable, Ronald.
Would that be for a phone or is it for fashion?
It's for his smartphone, I'm sure. He looks amazing, and he is so bright. The colors and just all the heads and cameras are looking up right
And
now.
there's Grimace and the Hamburglar and a real Ronald, the real Ronald.
And the big red shoe car. That is a sick car, Kev. Would you drive that around L.A.?
And I do, again, that symbol of the B21. With is it a W? Is it an M? I don't know. Depends. Like, again, am I speaking AERO? I mean, aeronautical, left me at the front door, going over the threshold, back into Lynn and Lou at the Glen, safely. And then it's like, where'd you go? What happened? Was at college, and then you'll be in touch.
It never rained, so I guess we'd be okay.
You know, we just saw the cast of NCIS LA. You know who would look good in that car? Hello, Cool J. He could really drive around the streets of Hollywood in that car.
The challenge has been thrown out there.
And I'm sure they would give it to him.
Someone really likes her job at LL. I'm, again, having a problem with the 1976 for the end of that very real patterned word.
Listen, we'll see. We'll see. But the parade is rolling. It has been so fantastic. And I can't believe it's already the time of the year where you start thinking about holiday gifts.
Yes, when it comes to shopping, I love when you can find everything in one place. And for a lot of people, me included, it's also about saving money with the best holiday deals.
There is actually a place that has everything you need at a great price, and you get a percentage of whatever you spend.
So just after McDonald's came Snoopy, and it's got a NASA logo on it.
And look at this guy. Welcome back to the longest running character balloon in the parade in the form of an astronaut. It's Snoopy.
The balloon design marks the 8th version of the famous Peanuts character. It was built to celebrate the legacy of Peanuts' relationship to the Apollo missions and all future space missions. And I just love this guy. He is so cute and friendly, and I love dogs.
I am sorry, but I feel like a kid watching Snoopy go by. You just don't get tired of this. It's amazing. This is Snoopy's remarkable 43rd appearance in the Thanksgiving Day Parade, and he is 43 feet long, 29 feet wide, and
43 by 29?
And 49 feet tall.
And the parade would really not be the same without Snoopy. And of course, Snoopy's first balloon here in the parade was in 1968.
I see on this donkey there's a lot of 4 stars. And then I hear 43 by 49 by 29. I'm like, it's written in the dimensions. Going down 5th Avenue. What are you, playing the 5th the special way?
So he's been around for a long time, but he's still just a little pup. He's still a little pup.
And by the way, Snoopy has been to space. Well, at least Charlie Brown and Snoopy were the names of Apollo 10's command and lunar modules.
No way. He is so cute, and you can see how high he is flying, and you can see how relaxed the handlers are today. Sometimes their arms are up in the air, and they're really trying to fight with that wind, but it is such a beautiful day here in New York City that we're just chilling. We're enjoying the chaos.
Now, what I find interesting is, as respectful as they are to this LL Cool J, Papa Smurf comes down and they turn their back to Papa Smurf. They're not even mentioning him. And I'm like, now that's in like Grand Poopa. That is really interesting. I don't know what that was all about. But I see Hilton over here and Blue Mercury just as clues and signs to I'm at this point not dressed to the hilt, but here we are in my situation.
46 years,
You're
right?
right on the money. He is 546
He's the same
years
age as
old.
you, Kevin.
No, he is actually 3 years older. Stop.
Okay.
Come on now.
And he's big, 43 feet long, 36 feet wide, and 51 feet tall.
Yeah, and he has that famous bushy white mustache and beard. He's the only Smurf who does not wear white. Did you know that?
I love, because he's a papa. And I love the most about him is that he stopped right here in front of us so we can get a very good look at him. And you can see that he's barely moving because there's no wind today.
There is no, and right where he is, almost at a cross street, usually, that would be a tough place to hold a balloon, but
exactly.
He's hanging. By the way, it would not be Thanksgiving Day without a visit from actor, singer, and Broadway star Eric Bergen. He is like part of the family.
Now, in certain places, it might be hard to explain, like, how do I still have footage from Thanksgiving and I'm in December, right? Yeah, like, we are, like, so past that in, like, actual physical space. Again, for high boots and briefs and keeping things at whatever. So I'm just like, all right, so that's the rundown of what I've seen so far. Oh, and what else is really interesting is, for some reason, at the beginning of this, from when I taped it, they had Ancestry.com DNA test, which, again, it's not the one that Alex had provided. My son provided for me, the one that's on the escalator with me. But it's a different one. And the man, now I was in Ireland in the 1980s, and we drove the entire coast of Ireland, sampling the beauty of its people. I never once saw, and I wasn't driving, I didn't schedule the bed and breakfasts, but we were in a really nice, I wasn't with Linda and Lou either, I was with other family members, and we went for a whatever, vacation, I suppose. First time I was away internationally, that I can remember anyway, and I never saw a man in Ireland that resembled this person, who says that after he tested with Ancestry DNA, they informed him that he's Irish. I'm like, those be fighting words in, like, really hard to come back from places. So I'm a little confused. I mean, I was there. I never saw a single body that looked like him. And that was in the 1980s. So I'm confused why Ancestry is alerting the public of these falsehoods, and why they're up there publicly promoting these falsehoods of where did that come from, and why are they speaking of it that way, and where is the fashion police in making sure that things like this don't happen. Now, I don't know if they call this a plug or what, but it's on the Thanksgiving Day parade day. They're holding up these boxes, and I'm just like, now how did they get network permission to so blatantly lie through their teeth and cause possible larger arguments in really dangerous whatever, when it's so blatantly a lie and false? And I hear these things and I'm like, no, who's in charge of correcting that faux pas?
I agree. Monster High!
Some real quality time with family and loved ones.
Especially now with so much going on in the world and the last couple of years, it's so important to sit down and really connect.
And let me just tell you, one sure way to bring families together right now is with a gift from Ancestry.
Yes, an Ancestry DNA kit is an amazing way for your loved ones to discover what countries their family are from and even make connections to living relatives.
Yeah, and an Ancestry gift membership can help your loved ones uncover stories from their family's past through billions of online records. Everyone really should do this. You learn so much about your family.
Yeah, Kevin and I both had remarkable experiences with Ancestry DNA.
I remember sitting down with my wife and kids, sharing what I learned. I had no idea what my DNA could show us. It was mind-blowing. I love the fact that my kids learned more about the fact that they are Irish. So the Fraser Black Irish contingent is coming.
I love that. I discovered so many amazing things too. My family tree is way bigger than I thought it was, and what a fun experience and a great gift.
There's also this great feature called Ancestry DNA Traits, which can show you your DNA influences over 35 different traits.
Yeah, get this. We're in the future. Through your DNA, it can suggest things like whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. Guess which one I am. Also, if you're a night owl, a morning person, or a risk taker,
Yes.
even if you're likely to remember your dreams.
Yeah, and with an Ancestry membership, you can learn about the lives of your ancestors, who they are, where they were, where they lived, everything. It really brings a family closer together when you...
Now, I tried using Ancestry. In fact, I was contacted to alert me of this Ancestry possibility. Then there was a phone call where they actually had to call somebody as I was logging into it and then describe for them on this phone call with Department of Homeland Security what I was experiencing because I was having trouble. Then they wanted me to take a photo of this screen and send it to them. I'm like, at this point, I had a digital camera. And I'm like, I'd have to go dig out that camera, but I don't know how to get it from the camera into the computer. I have no idea how one even does that. And then there was something else that went on, and then they would be in touch, but then they weren't. And then I was supposed to get some package in the mail, but I didn't. And then there was no number to like follow back up with. So, and that was in Ronkonkoma. Back in like, I don't know, it was after, I think it was after Alexander's birth. It had to have been after Alexander's birth. But no package came in the mail. I couldn't get through on the computer. I had no way of, I mean, like, there's no screenshot. It's a regular computer. What buttons do you push on the keyboard? I mean, like, I don't know how to take photos of a screen. So, so that happened. And now I see that they're up to some next level in confusing the public. I'm going to pause this because there's another side thing to this. There's another piece that's up here about Suffolk County. They had some breach of whatever, and they got to file some paperwork. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching the numbers, and the numbers are not clear, whatever they threw up there. It doesn't match any logic that I have. But what is important is the fact of, I'm thinking to myself, they're saying that Social Security numbers and driver's licenses have been compromised. And I'm like, I'm not even clear right now on how they're conducting stuff, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm watching this morning on CBS, the E49. I'm watching it where there's they're at some Tijuana and California crossover, and they're picking apart vehicles, and I'm like, okay, from ground control, in just like a simple way, they've got on like a snail's pace. They got tunnelers underneath the cities bringing in drugs, and they said it's been steadily increasing since 2008 to where 2019, those are the 2 years, they said it's now like in some super push. And I'm thinking to myself, now if that was our cybersecurity for which there's stuff that they don't talk about, I'm not even talking about, but in a way to talk about, if ground control at like the Tijuana border is having that much trouble with just automobiles and like the increase in traffic from when it was hard to access the funds to buy an automobile until now when there's such an abundance of them. I mean, did nobody see in simple calculations? I'm not even talking at like NASA administration level of need to know mathematics, but I'm talking about like standard area operation of like 1 + 1 = 2. If I sat down with index cards, I could figure out, and I have in my room, just sitting there just thinking about humanity, about the increase in the amount of travel, the amount of trouble, the amount of, and now I'm getting visual references and I'm like, okay, so that's ground control, but now at like increased speeds of electricity and radar and whatever, there's like superimposed security risks that come with the enhancement of the knowledge and the training of the technology and the staff and the so on and so forth in other area mechanics of how does the internet work, or these electric companies, or who owns the power company and the power grid, like that kind of stuff. In whose arms are they hiring? Where are my arms, legs, and navels? I have a very important piece in the calcaneus calculus for which my representatives need me. And I don't know how to access them. It's like something else cut me off from having access to the important people that I need to know. In like a friendly relationship. Not in like a, they want to harm me more than I already have. Now, whatever works at this CPB and does this for a living, like I'm not trying to insult the intelligence of like the humans with backbones and brains and got somewhere in life. It's just that I have been held so out of the loop and the ability to get to Hummingbird Flower where I need to be on, I arrived on an escalator. Whoever needs to know what an escalator is in time and space knows what an escalator is. I have different purpose here, and I'm having problems with mechanics and with getting to where I need to be on that escalator in a timely fashion. So there's some things that need to be discussed. I just don't know with whom.
This morning, the new battles at the border over the most dangerous narcotic law enforcement has ever seen, and how cartels are getting drugs across. We told you recently about how the fentanyl problem in the United States has gone from bad to worse as we spent time on the streets of Maine, plus inside a maximum security prison. Now a different trip to the busiest border crossing in the world.
So, of course, naturally, in my logic and my thought process of doing analysis of the situation, I'm thinking to myself, because I'm not there, but now there's eyes on the ground there. I'm thinking of just how many cars this is. And then I'm thinking about a lot of different pieces and parts that go into the whole of this massive amount of one piece in an even bigger picture. And then I'm quantifying that and cross-referencing that to whatever's going on in cybersecurity and the stealing of the Social Security's birth dates, which actually simple things that I've discovered in the field and I've spoken about on recorded telephone of my unhappiness is the fact that you sign up for a warranty or of an appliance even that I bought at a Home Depot in my local area. And then when it went wrong, I had to call the Philippines and give my American and United States of America phone, address, social security, and birth date. I'm like, that's an international hotspot they're not North American. Why the heck is my customer service rep available and accessible over there? That seems to be a really big breach in security. If at small potatoes, but leads to even larger things. And I don't really see anybody working on that problem and actually coming to a conclusion that fixes it and seals off that problematic, like it exists and it's real.
Okay, where are you going today? Anything for Thursday?
At the San Ysidro port of entry in between San Diego and Tijuana, more than 65,000 vehicles cross every day. What are we passing through now?
So this is a piece of what we call our non-intrusive inspection technology. So this enables us to scan as a driver drives his or her vehicle through. We're looking for packages concealed within that vehicle.
Port Director Marisa Mary says by now, 60% of all the fentanyl seized in the United States is found at border crossings in Southern California. When did fentanyl start becoming a big deal here?
So we first saw fentanyl in 2008, but really we've seen a skyrocket in fentanyl since fiscal year 2019. You'll see what the officer is doing. He's using what we call a fiber optic scope. And so that has a camera at the end, and it enables him to look in the gas tank.
They store the packages in gas tanks.
Absolutely, and so we've seen it in different ways. There could be packages floating in the gas tank, or they could build a separate compartment within the gas tank so that there's both gas and space for the narcotics.
And the packages of fentanyl we're talking about coming in are typically like yay big?
Yeah, I'd say, the size maybe of a brick could be a couple $100,000 worth of fentanyl.
Do they hide stuff in the seats?
They normally hide stuff in the seat, so I'm gonna push on the seat to make sure that it feels right.
The CBP officers who run the vehicle inspections search for signs of hidden drugs in places most would never think to look.
Sometimes you can create a compartment right here, and I don't see any new screws or anything. There's no thumbprint over here. It's all dirty. I mean, it hasn't been touched. A little trick, you put your feet over here, and you tap it this way to hear the vibration on the other side.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff to search.
Yeah.
Assisted by trained canines, they can search thousands of vehicles a day. It's a constant cat and mouse game here. They're trying to get better at what they're doing, and you're trying to...
And we're trying to counter those efforts.
Efforts which include not just where they hide the drugs, but also who they use to carry them.
Right now we're seeing a trend in minors and young adolescents who come from less economic means being targeted in high schools, in junior highs. And these smuggling organizations are offering them, for them, what seems is a lot of money, $500, $1,000, and tell them to put this in your pocket, put this in your backpack, and cross the border with it.
How long has that trend been going on for?
It's increased in the last few months with the trend
For me, I'm just thinking back to the school classes that I went to, where they had vocabulary words on the left, and then they had fill in the blank sentences on the right. Nothing NASA fancy, just regular New York public school. And I'm thinking to myself, they taught us to draw lines from the word to the sentence it belonged to. And I'm with that amount of training, I'm watching the See the BS this morning and the professionals in the field with this problem. And I'm able to take that box that they've already visually put together how they're working and then cross-reference it with the parts that I can't see. Aunt Denise, stop. The parts that I can't see at cybersecurity. And it is the mechanics. I mean, some of the mechanics look like they fit, but I don't know because I don't really touch computers very much. I have no purpose for them in my day-to-day whatever. At this point, the same device takes the video and uploads the whatever in the whatever science field it is. I'm not quite sure what they call the science field. But Linda's watching shows today that absolutely frightened me about something called Law and Order, which I don't normally watch. It's on something called ION, which I find really like EO me EO, really. And it has a lot of graphic words in it and scenes, and so I don't watch it. But they had something on that caught my ear about catfishing, where there was some intermediary pretending to be somebody else and trying to do stuff, and I'm like I can see the criminals and how creative they are at like simple ground force. Then this program, it's CBS Saturday mornings, and it's E49, I believe, today. I can see how they tunneled underneath. They put electricity. They said that they put some kind of track underneath. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like. And then you've got people who go to college and or university and train themselves in all of these really fun things that I never got a chance to go to in graduate schools and whatever. I wasn't even offered that level of opportunity of participation within humanity and within social settings. So, like that employment track was hidden. Um, so I'm like at ground level, just going like, oh my gosh, on wasted resources and time while I'm still just like, where did Hummingbird go? It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.